Hello everybody and welcome along to today's video, where today it's a bit of a sad day because we learnt finally official news last night that Murray Gold is definitely leaving Doctor Who. He has done his final episode and we will be having a new composer for Series 11 of Doctor Who. Now before I get into this video a bit more, I will say you probably noticed that the picture quality is quite a bit better and the microphone and the sound is hopefully a bit better as well. I've upgraded my camera, my sound, my lighting, my everything. So hopefully from here on in my videos will look a little bit better and sound a little bit better. That's at least the plan. I'm still getting to grips with this camera, so apologies if I look slightly out of focus or I haven't got it quite right, but I'm still learning how to use all this stuff for the first time. So hopefully you'll get a bit more enjoyment out of my videos just because it's a bit nicer to look at and to listen to. But now onto the video itself. So yes, we heard last night during the Gallifrey One convention over in America, Murray Gold went to, I think, pretty much his first ever convention. I don't think he's ever done any before. And from what I saw on social media, it looked like an absolutely fascinating talk. He basically did a sort of TED Talk style talk to the audience about his time on Doctor Who, about composing music, the challenges of sort of creating it for Doctor Who, the different themes that he created, and some of the sort of stories behind it, and a few anecdotes in there as well, I think, and really just gave a great idea of what it was like to work as the composer of Doctor Who for this long period of time. And of course, during this presentation, he did sort of confess and tell everybody that yes, Twice Upon a Time was his final story. He has finished work on Doctor Who, and that is it for his time composing music for the show, which for me is very, very sad because he has been a stalwart of Doctor Who since 2004, before the show even started. He's been such a fantastic composer. I've done videos on it before. He's just got so many amazing themes he's composed for this series that are absolutely so iconic now. Just themes like the Daleks theme, the Cybermen theme, they're absolutely synonymous with the characters now. The same with the original The Doctor's theme, and each of the character themes for the Doctor as well, the companion themes, they're all such iconic tracks that he's created. And even all his incidental music for the episodes, there's still so many well-crafted themes throughout his episodes, sort of being able to come up with so much variety. When every single episode of Doctor Who is so very different, to be able to come up with a new theme and a completely new feel for what new planet or what new time we've gone to. He just was so able to just versatile and able to come up with those new ideas, different themes that fit different situations. And in what is really a very challenging show to score, because there's so many different sort of situations, it's almost a different type of show every week, whether it goes more sci-fi or drama or rom-com or whatever else. So to be able to just bring through different themes and sort of convey the different emotions and meanings of different types and styles of episodes is something absolutely incredible that he's done for so many years, through 10 full series of Doctor Who, something like 150 episodes nearly, that he's composed all the music for. Everything, he's composed absolutely everything since Doctor Who came back. So all I can really say is thank you, Murray Gold, for an amazing 13 years of composed music. We still have the Series 9 and Series 10 soundtracks to look forward to. I cannot wait to hear Heaven Sent completely isolated and the whole score finally, after all this time, after 2 years of waiting. And it is going to be sad. It's going to be a really different and a real change to not have Murray Gold music, because he's such an iconic style to music, I think, that he's got now. So it's almost hard to imagine what it's going to be like with someone else composing the music for New Who, because it's just never happened. But to some degree I'm also really excited about that prospect of having another fresh element to the show for Series 11. I mean, pretty much everything is new and fresh anyway, but just adding the music as well, because the music really creates the feel of the programme, I think, and it's almost subtly one of the most important aspects that a lot of people don't notice unless you're really sort of into the music. I know probably quite a lot of you guys who subscribe to my channel do love Murray Gold's music and the music behind Doctor Who, but for a lot of people it's just sort of there and you kind of subtly, vaguely notice it while you're watching it and then forget about it. So I think it's such an important element to the programme of sort of just creating that feel of this is an emotional scene, this is a dramatic scene, this is a comedic scene. It just sort of conveys the meaning of each scene subtly underneath it and just kind of glues the whole programme together, I think. So it's certainly going to be very important they get the right person to compose the music for the show in Series 11. But who could that be? Now, I did do a video on this way back when, I think in something like October 2016, I think when the rumours first started to come up in the sort of back end of 2016 that Murray Gold might be leaving after Series 10. So it's been a rumour that's been around for absolutely ages, and has finally come to fruition. But at the time, I think I said the composers that I wanted to do were Oliver Arnolds, Christabel Tapia de Veer and Blair Mowat, I think were the three guys I picked at that point. Certainly Arthur Arnold would still be my #1 choice. He's the man behind the Broadchurch score, so has worked with Chris Chibnall before. He's also just has a sort of vibe of music that I really like, these sort of Icelandic instrumental, really unusual instrumental tones that he uses in all of his albums on the various things he's done, whether it be sort of compositions just as albums or for various films and TV programmes. But unfortunately it looks like that's unlikely now, because he's sort of certainly strongly hinted on social media that he's doing other things. I currently see sort of on his Instagram stories him in his studio composing stuff that clearly isn't Doctor Who music. That's fairly clear to see. He's got a concert in May as well, or a touring concert over sort of May-June time. So I think, as much as I'd love it to, and he's probably my favourite composer of all time, even edging out Murray Gold, I don't think he's going to get involved with Doctor Who at all. I think, as much as he has a good relationship with Chris Chibnall, having worked with him on all 3 series of Broadchurch, I don't think he's going to have anything to do with Doctor Who, which is fine. That's fair enough. So who else could it be? Now, the other names I mentioned was Cristobal Tapia de Veer, the man behind the soundtrack to Utopia, to Humans, to an episode of Black Mirror in the last series as well. He does a lot of sort of electronic-y, synthy style music, which probably would fit quite well, I think, with Doctor Who if they wanted to go back a little bit more to sort of 1980s style synthy music, just get a little bit more of that sort of otherworldly element to it. I think he'd be quite a good choice. He doesn't seem a particularly obvious choice, I think, from sort of having any links to the programme or to any of the production team, which probably makes it less likely, because it's, I'm sure, more down to sort of knowing people and getting them involved than actually what style of music they produce necessarily. So he's an option that I think would be really interesting. I'd quite like to sort of see what he could do with Doctor Who, but I think again it's probably unlikely. Now, the other man from that list was of course Blair Mowat, who composed the whole score to Class back in 2016. It looks like they're going to get a soundtrack for Class as well, which is quite exciting. He certainly had a sort of similar style to Murray Gold, I think you'd say, in his music. It's probably the closest kind of link that we've got that it could be him. Hence, because he's composed the spin-off, the music was somewhat similar. He used some of Murray Gold's themes in Class as well. He then composed the score to one of the trailers for Series 10, the one where they were in the museum, I think, and sort of the VFX special kind of trailer. He composed the music for that, so there's certainly strong links to Doctor Who there. And I think he's probably one of the front runners for the job. And I'd be pretty happy to hear it. I mean, it wouldn't probably be revolutionary in his style of music. I think it still would have some of a feel of a similar to Murray Gold, because his music just is a little bit similar. But I definitely wouldn't be against him as a choice. It'd probably be a less inspiring choice, but I'd certainly sort of support it and look forward to the sort of music he could produce. Some of the other names I've heard linked as it possibly being were David Arnold and Michael Price, who are some of the guys who were behind the Sherlock soundtrack, so there's sort of a BBC link there at least. And they certainly can compose some great themes and sort of dramatic orchestral music to Sherlock, so I wouldn't be against them. I don't think it's hugely likely, but it's certainly possible that either one or both of them could get involved. One of the other sort of overlooked choices but could also get in the running is Edmund Butt, who's done various TV soundtracks. Probably the one you'll be most familiar with is he scored An Adventure in Space and Time, the 2013 docudrama about the creation of Doctor Who. He did a fantastic little score for that, and that was, I thought that was really effectively done. It almost feels like quite a sort of warm feel to the music, but also quite emotional at points when sort of towards the end of it, and Susan leaving, William Hartnell having to give up the programme and everything like that. There's lots of great sort of more emotional music there, I think. So he's sort of a bit of a left field choice possibly, but I think could do quite a really interesting job and just give a nice sort of different feel to the programme. Other than that, there isn't really any obvious links as to exactly who it could be at the moment. These are all very much just sort of out there ideas, I think, more than any solid rumours. I haven't really seen any sort of official hints at who could be scoring the programme, so it'd be very interesting. I mean, there's lots of sort of other random ones that I'd quite like to see. Someone like Max Richter could do it, or Vince Pope, Martin Phipps, John Opstad, who have done sort of various Black Mirror scores and programmes like that. I think could all do really good TV scores for Doctor Who, but I think it's just going to be down to who Chris Chibnall wants to go with, or maybe who he knows almost, as to what we want to look at in a new composer. And it's certainly something I'm going to be keenly interested in, as I think, as I say, music is very important to Doctor Who. But I don't think we probably will find out particularly early. It might not be until just before the series actually launches, because I think, at least in the more public consciousness, it's not particularly an important thing, and people aren't really going to be unless it's someone like Hans Zimmer, they're not really going to go, wow, look who is the composer now. They're not really going to care that much. So I think we're just going to kind of wait and see who it is. But that's, yes, about all I can say about this at the moment, simply because we know nothing more. I think, again, I've got to reiterate how sad I am to see Murray Gold go. I know some people have sort of been a little bit critical of his more recent work, saying it's lacked imagination a little bit and that kind of thing, but personally I don't see that. I think he's still produced lots of great music, certainly for Series 10 at least, episodes like Oxygen, Extremis, The Lie of the Land, World Enough and Time and the Doctor Falls. There were lots of fantastic new themes and new scores. He brought in new incidental music that fitted the scenes perfectly, I thought. Still a lot. I don't think Series 10 was as strong as Series 9. I think pretty much every episode of Series 9 has a fantastic score, and there's a lot of memorable tracks, which are going to become all the more memorable when we get a Series 9 soundtrack finally. But I still think he did a very good job in Series 10, and there wasn't a sort of obvious decline in the quality of the music he was producing, at least on my side. I think that. Yes, in Twice Upon a Time there was a lot of reused music. I think that's probably because he knew it was his last episode, so he wanted to chuck back in all those old themes that he loved. Doomsday, for example. Doomsday, I think Murray Gold said in the past, was his favourite piece of music ever composed for the show, along with I Am the Doctor. I think they were pretty much his top two. And of course he brought both those themes back in to Twice Upon a Time, so I think part of that was just he knew it was his last chance to throw some old themes back in again, so he just picked some of his favourites to just chuck them in because he can. And I love that. I love to hear those sort of references back, reminding us of the old, sort of older episodes, bringing back those kind of themes. And of course it's going to be fascinating to see with the new era, will they still use any of the old themes? So if we go back to Gallifrey, will we get to hear the Gallifrey theme again, or will there be a new one composed with the Daleks, with the Cybermen? These have become such iconic themes. Will the new composer be allowed or choose to use this music, or will whoever they are, they decide to actually go and start afresh with some new themes for the programme? I think that's going to be one of the fascinating elements of this. But there we go, guys. I want to hear from you. What are you happy or sad? Hopefully you're sad that Murray Gold's leaving. I'd like to think that most people are disappointed because he has been so great for the programme, but I'd love to hear what you thought on Murray Gold's tenure as a whole, and who you think could do it next. Who is going to be the composer of Doctor Who Series 11? So that's it for this video, guys. Remember to like it, subscribe if you're new here, follow me on Twitter at EMS_Productions. I hope you've enjoyed a video with a bit better picture quality, a new microphone, everything just looks a little bit better for my channel finally. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Goodbye.